want to say it was actually amazing having all of our participants last week. It was so powerful, and today is another great day. So again, this is the Jonah Tupa School of Leadership and Development Executive Graduate Program Semester 4, and we are actually excited to have Dr. Anana in the house with Dr. Ruben West. With no time to waste, Dr. Ruben West, you can take it from me, and let's kind of introduce our guests to start off the process. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the introduction of me. I'm excited. I'm excited for you all. I'm going to say that again. I'm excited for you all because the trainer that I'm bringing on today is extremely powerful. She's a World Civility Ambassador. She's a 3-time author. She's a coach. She's a mentor. When we talk about leadership, sometimes we're talking about corporate leadership. That's okay because she used to do hospital administration. She was a leader there. She left that field and started her own business via the network marketing industry. Now, remember, I always say that if you start out moving and you look behind you and there's nobody following, you're not leading, you're just taking a walk. But this is an individual that went into the network marketing space and built herself all the way up to the levels of diamond. That's where you've hit so many marks and so many levels, and you have so many people under you. And so you're leading on a regular basis. So not only is she leading them throughout the process of the business, but she has to provide motivation on a regular basis. Why? So that they can move into a new industry and run their own business. So when I talk about a leader, I'm talking about somebody who's coming from multiple capacities. Now, you may have heard her and I talking while we were waiting to get started. And if you did, then you heard her talk about the fact that she's, watch this, somebody catch this. She's leading a group of 23 women, and they're going on a 4-country tour throughout Africa. They're coming to Kenya. They're going to Burundi. They're going to Ghana. They're going to South Africa. Now that's what I'm talking about, leaders. That's what I'm talking about, somebody following you. She's not a manager. She's not looking for a transaction. She's a leader. She's looking for transformation. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce this international speaker, international trainer, international figure, none other than Dr. Anana Phifer Derilihomme. Now, first of all, I got to make sure you can hear. So if you can hear me, say, I'm a leader. Just type in, I'm a leader in the feed. If you can hear me loud and clear, just type in, I'm a leader. Somebody said that they're not clear, but somebody, if you can hear, okay, I'm a leader. Somebody's, Christopher's clear. Is anybody else? Can you just type in, I'm a leader? I just want to make sure you can hear me before I turn it over to Dr. Anana. Now, before I turn it over, do me a favor. Get your iPad, your notepad, your paper, your pencil, anything you're going to use to take notes, because note takers are money makers, and the hand is a digital recorder for the mind. The hand is a digital recorder for the mind. Get ready to take these notes. Dr. Anana Phifer Derilihomme, over to you.
Well. Good afternoon, morning, evening. Hello, greetings, good day. Dr. Ruben West, I thank you for that intro. Can you hear me? Listen,
Oh, yeah.
Are we good? So I know now we done changed mics, we done changed positions. So if you guys can hear me loud and clear, I hope I can see you. Let's continue on. I know, so Dr. Ruben West asked you to put in, I'm a leader, right? And so here, I'm gonna tell you, since you're just hearing me for the first time, right? Let's just say, I'm gonna be the first. Put that in the comments. I'm going to be the first. We're just gonna start right off the back, right, with some proclamations, with some affirmations, right? Because you're gonna, I'm so about I am statements. I'm gonna be the first, right? And so I know that's gonna be a little blank. I don't know what you're gonna be the first of, the first one to do, the first one to get, the first one to obtain. But listen, let's go ahead and claim that right now. I'm gonna be the first. Okay, I see you, princess. Come on, I'm gonna be the first. Talk to me. All right, come on. I should see him. I'm gonna be the first. So however you coming in, you're gonna make sure you let me know that I am Lawrence. That's right. I'm gonna be the first. So we're gonna get right into this thing now. I am so grateful for the relationship All right, relationships are always key, right? To have relationships, to have mentors, to have leaders in your life. That's right. I'm gonna be the first with the exclamation point. I see you, right? So I am grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for the relationship and the connection that I have with Dr. Reuben West. So I thank you, sir. I salute you again for all your leadership, your serving leadership, your servant leadership. I appreciate you. And of course, to the founder, to the visionary, I believe it's Otis. All right, Otis, Jonah. I'm gonna make sure I get it right. Tava, right? I thank you for the visionary of the School of Leadership and Development. What you talking about? I'm with the students that they in the School of Leadership and Development. That right there is what it is. Because see, first of all, sometimes we worry about being a leader. We forget that we need to develop some stuff. We need to develop as leaders. We so busy chasing, trying to get in that position. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. But listen, I'm not just talking about it. This is what I do, right? So this is my current book, The Emotional Healthy Leader. I can't give it all to you today. So I got a short time. I got a short amount of time to go ahead and get into this thing today. So I thank you for the invitation, right? I thank you both, you amazing leaders, for having me here. So I'm grateful, right? But they brought me to the table. They brought me into the room today, right? And so I'm going to talk about social impact of women leaders in the 21st century. All right. So somebody, you could work with me. I need a note taker. Listen, so my mentor already told you, right, that we need note takers. The pen is the visionary, right? It catches it, right? You got to write it down. You write it down, you hear it, you write it down, right? You have the opportunity to process it and come back. So listen, so social impact of women leaders in the 21st century. But I'm not just stopping right there, right? And it's going to be with Dr. Anana and the Pips. The Pips. What y'all know about the Pips? Let me go ahead and get my technology going and see if I can get some slides. Now I'm gonna tell you, this ain't really my lane. I like to have somebody to manage this for me, but I'm gonna make it right? We're gonna see. All right, he's got to give me the opportunity to share. And when that happens, then I'll share with you. I do have a few slides for you. I was able to come up with a little something to show you because I'm a visual learner myself. So I like to be able to see as I move forward. So let me see if I can show you. Okay, not yet. All right. So we're going to talk about the social impact of women leaders in the 21st century with Dr. Anana and the Pips. All right. So, all right. I think I got it. Okay, maybe not. Okay. So listen, 21st century. Now, here's the thing about the time. When you think about the time that you're in, we are in the 21st century. And now more than ever, somebody say more than ever, the time is now. The time is now that we have to see, the time is now that we could provide opportunities, right? Opportunities for women to get in position. Okay, women get in position, okay? You ready? You heard me? Women, it's time more now than ever before. In this century, it's time for women to get in position. Now, here's the thing, not just get in position, but get in the position of authority. I said it. It's time for women to get into position of authority and influence. All right. She said, and influence, right? So we want women to get into position of authority and influence so that they can direct the flow, even in regards to politics and business. So today I'm going to talk to you about politics and business and how vitally important it is for women to direct the whole, I like to say, just get in front of the ship and let's go ahead and steer this thing forward. Okay. So let's get into it. Let me see. I'm going to check one more time. I think I can do it. Okay, I think I can do it. Let's see how this goes. All right, I think you guys got me. Can you see that?
Yes.
Say, I can see. I can see. I can see her. There she go. That's Dr. Anana. There she go. So this is just a brief bio, but you know what? Dr. Reuben West, he was able to share so much about me. So you already got the goods, and this really is not about me. So we're going to continue on, right? So I said, hold on, let me go back. It's Dr. Anana and the Pips, okay? So the subtitle is Social Impact of Women Leaders in the 21st Century. All right. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, who knows about Gladys Knight and the Pips? Anybody? No, no. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So listen, if you don't learn nothing, you learned already. I'm teaching you something. I'm teaching you some Motown history here in the United States about R&B, good family funk soul music. It was about Gladys Knight and the Pips. Right? So here she is, this amazing woman, but she had her Pips with her background singers. So we're talking about a woman leading. She was the lead singer. She was the lead vocalist, lead songwriter, but she had her Pips. Anybody heard of Motown? You ever heard of Motown? Okay. So now I'm coming to you, Dr. Anana and the Pips. So what are the Pips? What are the Pips? We're going to talk today about position. Okay, make sure I get it right. Position, right? Influence and posture. Put that in the comments. Make sure you got it. Make sure you got it. Let me see it. Let me see it. We got our note takers. I know you writing and typing and whichever. You could do all of it. Y'all some brilliant folks on this line. Position, influence, and I might even go back and forth between influence and impact, right? And posture. Okay, so let's talk about this. So women now more than ever, we have the burden and the blessing. You ever heard of somebody say, listen, right? It's a blessing and it's a curse. So there's a burden, but it's also a blessing to break barriers that women have been held back for so long. Now, this is the thing. This is going to require some self-belief and some self-awareness in order for us to break down the traditional mindsets and the conditioning that limits women and girls from their full potential. And so I like that because think about this, self-belief and self-awareness. So I wrote this book, my most recent book was the Flawed by Design. And it says, Flawed by Design, embrace your flaws and walk by faith. And the entire book is really all about self-awareness. So I'm clear on one thing, right? I'm from the New York, New Jersey area. I talk, with my hands. I talk like this, like a Jersey, New York girl, Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Anybody here been to Brooklyn? Because everywhere I go, somebody from Brooklyn, it don't matter. Or they got an auntie in Brooklyn. They know somebody from Brooklyn, right? So I know this about me. I'm fully aware. Uh-oh.
Dr. Nana, you have the controls, and I think there's some students waiting to get in. So just check to see if there's some people waiting to get in.
Got you.
Because I don't want them to miss you.
Admit all. Okay, got you. So I'm the whole host. Okay. I'm not just the co-host, I'm hosting it all. All right, so I got to let folks in. Okay. All right, so Flawed by Design is about self-awareness. And I feel like in order for us to understand this burden and this blessing, we have to be self-aware and we have to make sure that our self-belief is strong, right? And so when we do this and we are fully aware, we have the opportunity to break down traditional mindsets, that conditioning of where a woman should be. And y'all heard me say should be. Right? Where should she be? All right. So we know that self-awareness is so key. So I was speaking about knowing who you are, knowing what it is about you that makes you who you are. Now, I know you've had some amazing trainers, right? And I know ain't nobody came on here like this. I know you're like, who this is? That's right. But I'm fully aware of my energy. I'm fully aware of my vibe. And you know what that does? That is what attracts my tribe. Right? So being aware, self-awareness is always, always key. And to be okay with that, right? To be authentic, to show up exactly who you are, right? And who you are called to be, that makes a world of a difference, a world of a difference. So there's a few things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about politics and business and why it is important to have women leaders, right? In order to have that impact that we need for the 21st century, we must have women leading in these two areas that I'm speaking of today, all right? So I'm not just saying it. Let me see if I can get back here and get them moving around, okay? So listen, this is Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, right? Now she says this. She says, listen, no government So this is why I'm gonna get it together here, because this is gonna be interesting for me. But she says no government can succeed if it excludes half of its people from important decisions. Half of its people, right? So we know that we cannot exclude women. How can we be at the table making decisions and it's all men? And the beautiful thing about this is, I know I see a lot of men in the room today, right? But the onus and the burden is on you as well. Because somebody got to say, hey, where the ladies at? Wait a minute. It's all men at this table? It's all men in this room? We can't do that. Like the next meeting, we need to make sure that we have some women at the table. And more importantly, the balance of input, right? The balance of influence. So I am calling on you, my men, my brothers, right? To step up as well and to see this as a, an opportunity, but the same thing, it's a blessing. And listen, it could be a burden as well. So you have the opportunity to stand up, right? And make sure that women are at the table and at the forefront. So I'm clear that quotas are in existence, right? In many corporate boardrooms. Everybody know that typically there's a quota, right? That is set, especially here in the United States, and I'm sure, abroad, where we want to try to get more women at the table, okay? And so this is the interesting thing about a quota, right? And when we have women that get to the table and they become decision makers, it's like a paradox, right? Because quotas, they seem to pave the way for increased participation, right? For women to be at the table. And it somewhat implies a level of inclusion, right? But here's the thing about that, right? And I don't know how many women, if you are a woman on the line, just say, hey, girl. Just say, hey, girl, so I can see you. Just say, hey, girl. Let me see how many sisters I have on the line, right? Hey, girl, hey, that's what you got to say to me. Okay. So there's one thing, and this is a part of even my truth, right? So when you have these quotas and there's something where there's still a male, right? It was a man that helped you get the position, or there was a man that got you to that promotion and to that level, right? And so there's a paradox that comes with that, because here's the thing. It's like, wait a minute, I had to seek permission from a man to participate and contribute at this level. I know y'all didn't think I was just gonna come in here swinging, but I'm coming in here swinging. Y'all felt like yes. That's the paradox of it. This is what we have to really become. We have to really take some time to think about that, even as the men that are on this line, right? And if you have helped another female to get into a position, or to get her promoted, right? Or to help her to get that interview, right? That's a beautiful thing, and that's great. But here's what I have learned. Once you get in that position, there somehow is this unspoken understanding, this unspoken rule that in most cases, in order to really preserve and protect, that position, you have to preserve and protect the interests of the men. I know, y'all don't think that's true. Let me lean in. Y'all don't think that happens? Anybody say it happens? It happens. Yeah, that now a woman feels obligated, right? That now she has to preserve the interests of the man that helped her get into that position. This is why it's so important to have women leaders, right? In our 21st century, women at the table, right? To help doing the hiring, doing the firing, developing the policies. This is why it's so important, because this is what happened. So now I get in this position, and then there's something in me, right? And again, nobody has maybe even ever told you this, but this is the truth. All right, Dr. Nana came with the truth, came with her pips and some truth, right? That women now feel obligated to protect the interests of the men, even when sometimes those interests are not even in alignment with her own vision, her own purpose, and even for the greater good of other women. This is what goes on. This is what goes on. Right? And so we got to change that. And that's why I'm talking about the pips today. Because women are no longer, listen, we no longer necessarily just need to make up the quota, but we want to come with our pips. We want to be in a position. We want to have the influence and the impact, and we're going to have the posture so that we can make sure that the decisions are being made and we are having the impacts, right? That is really going to move the mission of whatever the organization has set forth. Okay, so this is just really important. So we're talking about leaderships. I'm talking about the PIPs. Now listen, talk to me. What are the PIPs? As I go through this, right? What are the PIPs? Position, influence and impact, and posture. So allow me to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to go into it, right? You know, we all want to have a level of success. Everybody say, I want to be successful. I want to be successful. If you're here on this line, you're a part of this course, you're a part of this discipline, I'm going to say 100% that you want to be successful. But something to consider is success along with significance. So a bit about my story. So I come with, you know, from like a corporate background, right? And the one thing is my family said, listen, go to school, go to university, get that degree, get that good job, get the watch, and retire from that good job and live off your retirement. That was the plan that was set in front of me. And I took a few detours. I actually was a teenage mom. I had my son at 19, but I still, thanks be to God, that I was able to get into that position. I still was able to graduate college, graduate university, be able to get a great administrative job, get the office, the corner office, you know, make the money, right? But then I got there, I obtained the success, but guess what? I was lacking. The significance was way back there somewhere. And it left something lacking in me. Right? So I want to, even now, as I speak to you, I always want to encourage you to make sure you go for the success, but let's make sure that our significance is in alignment with that, that there's a balance of that. Okay. And so when we talk about the PIPs, we're talking about women leaders, right? And having that position and coming along with the PIPs. I can assure you that if you move forward with the PIPs, you're going to have that significance as well as that success that you're going for. Okay, so y'all with me? Significance, success. You can put that in the comments. I can go back and see, right? Because I think right now I can't do all of that, right? But listen, as we talked about political standing as well as business, right? So let me just go over this definition that I saw that I thought was really important as we talk about democracy, right? So of course it's position, impact, influence, and posture, right? And so democracy is defined, and this was a really interesting definition that I thought brought it to the forefront, and sometimes we forget this, right? And so I want to hear from you even in that regard. Democracy is defined by the Economist Intelligence Unit, right, in 2010 as a set of practices and principles that institutionalize and thus ultimately protect freedoms. A government based on majority rule and the consent of the governed, the existence of free, fair election, and the protection of minority rights and respect of basic human rights. And this is including equality before the law, due process, and political pluralism. And so if I just, even that's a whole lot of, you know, pretty big words, right? I like to just summarize that as just speaking of, listen, the government should be for the people, by the people, or by the people, for the people. And if we really consider that and embody that and walk that out, that means equal rights, equal access, and equal participation. I'll say that again, equal rights, equal access, and equal participation. Now, you may recall some past initiatives, and if not, you're going to learn today. There has been some significant initiatives in the past in our history. It's called the Women's Suffrage Movement. Anybody ever heard of that? The Women's Suffrage Movement, right? The United Nations Convention of the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. So this is not a new thing. Right? Dr. Anana coming with her PIPs is not a new thing. This is something that has been going on for years, right? That women have been fighting for equal rights. And I want you to think about it as you see today. What do you see around you? What are you seeing in your political arenas, in your government, in your boardrooms, right? What are you seeing? You know, even if you just go to the local hospital, right? If you just go to the local newspaper, are you seeing women in positions? And if not, that's why I'm here. We got to talk about that, right? And we got to change that. We got to change that. So we had the, as another platform, the Beijing Platform for Action and the introduction of the electoral gender quotas. Anybody ever heard of that? The electoral gender quotas. And these were in place to make sure, again, that women became a part of the political process, right? The democratic process, right? We have to be so let's just say, inspired, right? To make sure that this happens, that we all put some energy to that, right? That women are included in even in the political process. So I'm grateful. And when I said this, in the 21st century is the time now more than ever, because we have some amazing examples. And I like to talk about the first. Now, in the beginning, I asked you to say that I am going to be the first, right? Now, as we go on and as you listen, I want you to fill that in. What are you going to be the first to do? What are you going to be the first to do for your family? What are you going to be the first to do for your generation? What are you going to be the first to do even in your class? How about in this class? Who's going to be the first to have $1 million company, right? Who's going to be the first to fulfill that, let's say, okay, yes, thank you. Who's going to be the first, right, to be the employer of 500, let's just say, employees? Who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first to be able to present scholarships, right, for other kids to come behind you and get this same education that you are afforded? Who's going to be the first? I'm going to venture to say, I'm going to boldly say, I got a room full of first. Tell me, what are you going to be the first to do? And if you don't have the answer now, I really hope by the time I finish, you've gotten some encouragement, some enlightenment, right? So that you can speak about, I'll be the first. I can't see the comments yet, but I would love to know what you're going to be the first. So let me tell you why the 21st century is important.
Anana,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's a few more people waiting, he said.
Boy, I don't see them. Oh, goodness.
Well, just check and see. If you don't worry about it.
I did let some folks in. It's
Okay.
not coming up right now. So
Okay.
Let me see, maybe it's a little bit of a lag. All right, so talking about the first, we'll see, the folks that's coming in, they showing the first. When they turn into the party, what we doing, y'all, right? So talk about the first. Anyone know about Kamala Harris? If you know about her, put your hand up. You know how to work in Zoom, put your hand up. All right, put your hand up, put your hand up. That's right, that's right. So Kamala Harris, right? She was the first. She is, okay, I see the hands. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, people waiting in the waiting room. I got me working here today, boy. Let me tell you something right now. Brother Otis. And this is the first but of many, okay? Because he got me working today. So I'm gonna have to come back so I can really focus and do what I need to do, right? So Kamala Harris, she is the first female vice president of the United States, the first African American, the first Asian American, the first Indian American. Man, she was a lot of firsts, right? But do you understand that just her being in this position, what that did for many girls and women, not just in the United States, but how about on other continents all around the world? Being the first creates freedom. It paves a way for others to come on and follow and say, listen, if she did it, I could do it. Somebody, if she did it, I could do it. And maybe not even in the political area, right? Maybe not in the political arena, but just that inspiration, right? To see someone, right, that doesn't look like the norm, what everybody else looks like, is now leading the way, right? So again, it automatically paves the way for the becoming of the first of, now we're talking about, she may even become the first female African-American, Asian American, Indian American, the president of the United States. Consider the possibilities when you decide to be the first, fill in the blank. Consider the possibilities of what happens when you get into position, you understand your influence, and then you also make sure that your posture paves the way for others to come forward. Y'all working with me? Do you understand the power of the pip? You understand why, in order to talk about leadership, to talk about political and business leadership and women, we got to bring the pips with us. We got to move and know and understand that your position all by yourself. And so I got so much. I got to watch my time. Am I good? All right, let me see. Maybe is that good? You understand the power of that and how she embodies the pip all day, every day. Okay, all right, good. I see that. I see some hands. Okay, good. So maybe not. Now let me tell you about this amazing woman, right? She's another great example. Mary Therese Winifred Robinson. Anybody ever heard of her? Okay, good. Okay, if not, I'm glad. I'm doing a little history for you too, right? I did my homework, right? So now she was the first female president in Ireland. First female president. And I got misspelled. I'm gonna go through this slide real quick. I told y'all this wasn't my thing, but it's all good. All right. So listen, she was the first president of Ireland and the first United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights. And so I love this about her because her power of being a leader and a charismatic leader, and I like that part, right? The charismatic leader, it helped change far beyond just the formal authority of position. But she moved into what we talk about, not just the success, but the significance. She was able to create a vision that not just her position and her role, but she changed the landscape of government and social action. She's a bad somebody. People don't know, but I'm telling you, this right here, bad. Okay? Bad. All right, so let's go on. Anybody know who this amazing woman was? Do you guys know who she was? She is, to me, like, do you guys know? Now y'all know, y'all gotta know. Right? This is another powerful advocate, right? Joyce Hilda Banda. Hope I'm saying that right? She was the very first, another of the first. We gotta clap for these first, y'all. We gotta clap for these first. We gotta recognize, right, what we're talking about, right? She was the first ever to serve as president of the Republic of Malawi. The first. I love me some first, y'all. I love me some first. She was the first. Now she became the second president, the second ever president, female president on the continent of Africa, but she was the first even for all of the southern region of Africa. I love this. Now she was bad too, because again, she was one that had that strong vision, and she was about making sure that she moved with her pips. What's the pips, y'all? What's the pips? Make sure y'all with me. What's the pip? First pip? Can I see it? Can I see some comments?
Position.
Can I see some comments? What's that first pip? They got into position. Right? You being here today is about positioning. You understand right now where you are in this time, in the 21st century, and you value that, right? And you're here, right? And so by getting in position, you now have that leads right in the way for influence and impact. And that posture. We're going to get into it. So let me just tell you this. The message is, again, now more than ever, the 21st century, it's time for women leaders, right? Don't be afraid of being the first. And I'm talking to my men. I got some men here. I want to give you, again, that burden to make sure that you are helping and looking for female first. I'm putting it on you today, guys. Like I said, when you're in a room and it's nothing but men, wait a minute, something wrong here. Somebody got to question it. Somebody got to stand up, and you can now be the first to say, where my sisters at? Where the women at, right? You can be that voice to make sure that you know that women are a part of the discussion, that women are a part of the decision making. I'm putting that weight on you. Now, are you gonna pick it up? Y'all gonna carry this thing for me? Y'all here, so I'm gonna give it to you, right? So do not be afraid, right? And so this is the thing, the pips, they will certainly pave the way for many, as we can see, there was so many before us, right? To go ahead to get in position. And so I want to spend just another few minutes on this whole thing about position, right? Because listen, position, I like to say it's just a space and time, right? That is always going to change. I'm sorry. So you might think, let me just get into that position. I just want to be the founder. I just want to be the CEO, the CFO. I don't know. I just want to be, what is it that you want to be? Right? And so you think that just getting in that position, that's going to be it. But I told you, I got in that position, right? I got to that level of success, but things were missing. And anybody ever read Who Moved My Cheese? Great book. As a little bonus tip for you. But listen, so let's talk, let me get into it. Get in position professionally and personally. Check your position professionally and personally, right? So don't wait. And I got to say this, especially for women, please don't wait for you to get in that position to think that you have influence. Don't wait to get in that position to think that now is the time to get the posture of success. No, it's time to start walking like it now. It's time now, right? And I think of it as, so I have 3 boys, right? And they're men now, right? My oldest is 26, my middle one is 19, and my baby is 16, right? And so they have played every sport ever. As a mother, I've been sitting in bleachers for the past 20 years, I feel like, right? Soccer, I don't even know what football, baseball, they played it, right? And so the one thing I know is if you're going to be good at anything, right? You got to play your position, right? And you got to get in position. If you want to get the ball, right? You got to move and get in position to it, right? And so it's so important. If you I know you guys do football, right? Football, I said soccer, but y'all's football, right? So come on, you moving all the time. You moving and guessing where the ball gonna go, when it's gonna go. Let me block him, where that player going. I think football is all about position, right? So you ain't just standing there. I'm gonna see if he gonna come by me with the ball, maybe, right? And sometimes we're doing that in our own business, in our profession. Well, maybe somebody gonna call on me. Maybe somebody gonna throw me the ball. Maybe they're gonna let me speak this time. Maybe they're gonna recognize me for what I did good, right? Maybe they're gonna recognize me. I'll get it this time. No. Listen, if you on this call, we're talking about leadership and personal development. Baby, you need to get in position. Get in position, right? Okay, so all right, any more about position? I think y'all got it. I think I've tried to show this a few different ways, but here's the thing. Position, the definition, Webster's definition is it's the way in which something or someone is placed. That's something right in itself. Get in position, right? And then the other one, a part about this is the third definition, which I like. Listen, it's the place where a person is or should be. Tell me something. Are you currently where you should be? Are you out of position? Because the ball ain't coming. If you're on this side and everybody down here and the basket is here or the goal is down here, what you doing way down there? I just be having fun, y'all. All right, position. All right, so that we got that. I hope that the first P, you guys got it. Are you in position? And I love to say, think about this professionally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, relationally. Position is so key. And that's why we start with position. Okay. So, oh man, okay, all right. Let me go on to the I. Let me go on to the I, because this oldest thing, he done brought me here, right? And so one thing I know y'all gonna tell him is make sure you bring her back. I'm only giving you a little something today. So let me move on, make sure I give y'all these pips. Okay. So now and now let me just take a minute, right? Let's talk about let's talk about influence, right? And I said impact. So for the time that I have today, because influence, I can go all day on influence. But let me just talk about impact, because that's initial impact. Impact. What do you do? Impact. How are you impacting people, right? Impact. It is to have a strong effect, just a strong effect on something or someone, right? And as a woman leader, you have considerable impact on others. I know that. When I step in the room, guys, I'm gonna impact you. Right? I don't even have to open my mouth, but my presence, my position has impact on you. It has impact on everyone in the room. So I'm coming with the pips. I'm not just talking about it, guys. I'm talking about it because I live it, right? You have to come in any space, understand that you're coming to impact. You're coming to cause influence. Don't just come and sit there and be quiet. We're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna get to that. Okay. So I am so brave to say that your impact may be greater even as a male, because I think I got more men here, right? So think about this, right? And this is why I want y'all to get this. Seeing women leading corporations, you see this, right? Seeing first female presidents of countries, presidents of corporations, seeing women judges, seeing females in parliament, right? Seeing women truck drivers, seeing women engineers, seeing women scientists, seeing women playing basketball, playing football, right? Seeing women in that position, seeing women pastors and bishops, and in every area, seeing a woman in that role, right, does not just affect the female, the women in the room or not. It affects the little girls, and guess what? Even the little boys coming up. It has an impact. It has an impact. All right. So seeing them have that position, be in that role, will impact what? The next generation. The babies are looking, right? They're watching, right? So this is just so powerful. So that impact is important. Okay, so we got P is position, I is impact and influence. Now, John Maxwell's an amazing author and trainer. He says, listen, position is just a good place to start. You get in position, but it's a terrible place to stay. And in order to really make a difference, you have to consider your influence. You have to consider yourself as becoming an influential leader. So I got a question. Right? And I hope you guys can talk to me, because we in a class, but we in a virtual class, right? Right? What does it look like to be a good leader? Anybody had a boss? You have a boss, but you have a leader. Anybody? What's the difference between a boss and a leader? And I'm looking for the comments. Let me see. A boss and a leader. If somebody see them, Doc, you might have to do it, but let me open up the chat. Is that work? Oh, I see some. I'm going to be the first. I can't wait to go back to this. Y'all got to make sure I get these. What's the difference between a boss and a leader? Y'all talk to me about that? Tell me, what does a boss do? Anybody know? What's the difference when you have a leader? And I'm going to share a bit, right? A boss might be more authoritative. Yes, correct. All right. Put it in the comments. Go ahead. Or can we open up the line? I don't know. I see some hands raised. What should I do? A boss dictates and makes a command, but a leader shows the way. You talking to me, Donna, son? Yes. Come on, show the way, right? A boss will say, you go, but a leader will say, let's go, or we go, right? That's a good one. Come on, what's the difference between a boss and a leader? Because how you gonna know when you see it, and how you don't know how to be it? Because you might wind up being a boss one day, when you really are a boss, but you're not being a leader. That's that significance. That's when it comes in. Yes, boss transcends, leader transforms. Yeah. That's it. If you want to unmute, I don't know, it says some people have their hands raised, but okay. So I got a few. Can I get one more? Let me see where's some of the females out here. What's the difference between a boss and a leader to you? A boss and a leader. And I'll share this as well afterwards as like just a bonus. Yeah, a leader takes pride in building a team and a high performing. Yes, that's good. You're talking my language there, Lawrence. Okay, high performance. That's what it is. Okay, good stuff. So John Maxwell says this: a boss is someone who orders people around, and a leader is someone, I think that went too fast for me, commands and dictates. A leader educated, motivate, and lead. Good stuff. Good stuff. So these are just some contrasts. A bosses drive workers, which is just what you were saying, where a leader coaches workers. Having someone who can coach you and take you through the steps. Yes, this is good. A boss depends on their authority. right? And they really don't necessarily depend on the goodwill of people. They don't instill goodwill on people, not doing it just because you told me so, but doing it because, listen, I'm a part of this thing, right? We're moving this mission forward together, right? So important. A boss inspires fear. Yes, these are good. Boy, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, yes. So y'all already know. This is it. Motivate and coach. Do it properly. This is what I'm talking about. Leaders inspire fear, while a coach will inspire enthusiasm. They bring energy. They inspire energy. So I thought that this was really good just to take time to even think about that, right? Because leaders become great when they empower others and they impact others. That's my eye. We talking with the pips. So your main goal is always to make sure that you develop in others, even when you get into position, and not be a boss, but be a leader. And I know a lot of times, even, I'm a boss. I get that. That's the thing we say a lot of, but I'm a leader, man. I'm leading on all fronts. I am a leader. All right. So last one, I gotta go, right? Let's see my time. So my last one is posture. So the last P, what's the first one, y'all? Let me see. Y'all in the comments. What's the first P? Second, what's the I for? So it's Dr. Anana and her pips, right? You're gonna make sure they y'all know what it is. So we got position, we have impact and influence, right? And now we got posture. Now, posture is everything. Posture is everything. And I think we discounted a lot. And posture could be big, right? Because I could have came on here today and I could have been like, how y'all doing? I'm laughing because I just probably would never do that. Right? I could be like this. I could have been like this. I don't know. Posture, right? So it's just how I am positioned. Right? So posture is one definition that I love. It says that posture is a particular way of dealing with or considering something. So it's just a particular way of how you deal with things. And I don't know about you, but life comes with some stuff. And I promise you, as a leader, oh my goodness, life gonna really throw you some stuff. But your posture and how you react and your attitude, your approach to things is all about your posture. So we got to move with these pips. That's why posture, sometimes we don't really talk about that. We could talk about you getting the education. We could talk about you making that money, right? We could even talk about you building a team. But once you get there, what does your posture look like? What is your attitude like? How do you approach people? I know. And so the other part about the definition that I really like, it's your approach and your attitude, how you behave, right? In a way that is intended to impress or mislead. Impress or mislead. So that's an interesting one, right? Because as a leader, you want to impress people. You want to make people think that you got it all together, right? So even as a leader coming today, I actually had messaged Dr. West. I'm like, man, it's been a day. I just walked in the room, in the house. I've been in traffic. I had a client that was late. Like all of these things, right, could have affected my posture. But once I get in this classroom, once I see these students, I am here. My attitude and my approach is to come and lead, right? That's what I'm here to do. Regardless of everything that's going on around me, I'm here. I'm in position. I'm going to impact. I'm going to influence. And my posture is my attitude cannot be affected by anything else that has happened today. And probably as soon as I get off this line, posture. So position, influence, impact, and posture. So I'm going to end with this one, this P, because it's really important to me that you understand posture, right? And so when we talk about posture, right? And one thing I wanted to add to that is that you can impress and mislead. And I thought, do we ever sometimes mislead people as leaders? You know what I mean? Like, do we ever like not really give the full truth? Or do we ever, just want to make sure everything looks a certain way and it's not, and not being honest with your staff or your, I just thought that was interesting, right? But you certainly want to impress people, right? And so I know that in position, right? You get in position, but once you're there, you need posture, you need confidence, you need courage. And here's the thing, you absolutely have to be a contributor. What is your contribution? What do I bring to the table? Even as a leader, or once I get into that position, what's my contribution to this situation? What's my contribution to this team? Right? Sometimes we just want to get in position, but once I get there, what do I do? What's my gifts? What's my talents? What is it that I do that can't nobody do like me? I always talk about that. Like, can't nobody do, everybody might come and talk about women leadership, but I promise you, nobody came here and did it like I did today. That's my posture. I could be wrong, but that's my posture, right? So posture, when we think about that, it's a level of confidence, courage, and contribution. And so I'm about my C's. I have a book called The 4 C's, Creating Change for a Better Tomorrow Starts Today. So I love to figure out my C's, and we focus on civility, community, creativity, and climate change. And this is just a program, a curriculum that really deals with youth and youth development, right? Because we try to put, okay, you lead this way. I give the youth 4 lanes, right? So with Blessed Girls, we work with youth, but the 4 C's is like, this is all about youth civility, youth development, and they get to pick a C. You pick a C and run with it. And we help them to develop their leadership skills with one of those 4 C's. And so confidence, courage, and contribution are absolutely key. All right, I gotta let some folks in. All right, I think they're in, okay. All right, so what I would like to see more, and I encourage you all today, is to consider your posture. And not just the posture of the things we spoke about, of course, your confidence, your courage, your contribution, but consider your posture of advocacy. When we talk about women leaders in the 21st century and having their ability to impact, it's going to take a level and a posture of advocacy. How about that? A posture of advocacy. And see, advocacy is an essential part of making society better. We really can't get away around this. You see all the women that I've shared you that I showed you, if you show me anyone of significance, they had a posture of advocacy. We talk about these women 50, 100 years later, simply because of their posture of advocacy. And here's a quote from an amazing book. Let me get it, because I love this book. This is from Justina Mutali, right? And she says, listen, the collaboration of advocate leaders with political leaders will always bring about more rapid and effective change. Anybody know there's some things that need to change? Anybody know that we've been waiting 1,000 years for some things to change? And what I love about this is that she's saying it's going to take collaboration of advocate leaders and political leaders to come together in order to make that change. And she says, change, of course, it becomes easier to affect when advocates find themselves in position of political authority. Position, huh? Being an advocate, the posture of advocacy. So here's my last thing before I close. I'm going to give you guys 5 tips. Somebody said 5. She's going to give us 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a 5 in the comments. Let me see. Y'all with me? Make sure everybody with me as I'm closing. She's giving 5. And so what you can do is, I'm actually going to just run through them, but I actually have a document and a giveaway, and it's a bonus. So you go to ananaphifer.com, right? You get connected and I'll email it to you. All right, so I'll show that to you at the end, I think. Let me see, maybe I can do it here. Okay, so yeah, ananaphifer.com, could do that, or text me, WhatsApp, and I will give you a copy of it. But here's my 5 tips of advocacy. It's actually 20, but I'm gonna give you 5 today for time. All right, number one, 5 tips for advocacy, because the posture of advocacy is key in order to move and have social impact, to make sure women leaders are at the forefront, 21st century. Advocacy. Number 1, make some noise. Y'all for real? If I could tell everybody to take off their mic, make some noise. You have, if you're going to be an advocate and you're going to stand up and fight for something, yeah.
Sure, make some noise.
Okay. Make some noise, y'all.
Oh yeah.
We got it. We got it. Number one.
Yep.
That's it. Make some noise. In order to be an advocate, have a passion of advocacy, you got to make some noise. All right. So you got that. I said, I got a few people, they got it. Make some noise. Number one. Right. Number two, have a clear vision. I must say this is probably one of the as a coach, this is probably the one where I see clients struggle the most, and especially women. For so long, we're used to somebody else telling us what to do, what their vision looks like, what their mission is. We're always supporting something else, someone else, but every single one of you on the line, you have a vision for your life. You have a vision for your ministry. You have a vision for your business. You have a vision for your family. But just life and circumstances make us lose our own vision, right? Oh no, maybe I can't be that. I can't do that. Maybe we can't have that, right? We lose that. But my number two tip is to have a clear vision. That's it. All right, number three, say number three. Okay, I know, y'all, okay. Passion. Now, I don't know, you got on this line with me today. One thing you can tell is I'm passionate about what I'm talking about, right? I'm not playing about this thing, okay? You clearly know that and you feel that. You've never met me before. You may not have seen me before, but one thing you're gonna say, you might say she's a little, a little crazy, but she's passionate about this thing. She's passionate about women leaders. She's passionate about helping people. Passion. Number four, you have to have empathy for the disadvantaged. Advocacy, you absolutely empathize with those that are disadvantaged. And your focus and your advocacy, it might not be for who I'm advocating for, but that's why everybody needs to do it, right? You have to, who do you empathize with? When you see that, that thing just touches your heart. Empathy. Your ability to empathize with disadvantaged people is a key for advocacy, right? Oh, I got a bonus for y'all. I thought I had 6. Oh, goodness. Here's number 5. Here's number 5. What time is it? I'm good, Doc. Number 5, and this is a good one. Be open and willing to change. This right here, you're open in your willingness to change. And here's the thing, even when it's your own ideas, even when you think, no, this is the way to go. This is the way to do it, right? And then after a while, you might be like, wait a minute. Somebody else might say, this might be, let's try this way. Let's do it this way, right? So we have to be open and willing to change, even when it goes against our own cultural norms. And I've learned this so much with traveling, meeting people from all over the world, coaching people from all over the world. Just because it's the way that Anana might do it over in New Jersey, right? There's so many other ways that I can learn and maybe make those change and adjustments along the way. Because at the end of the day, we're moving things forward and we're furthering the interests of the greater good of people, not just me, not just my team, right? But that's that advocacy piece of it. Right? And so you might have to, you know what, maybe the way your mother did it wasn't the right way. Maybe the way your boss did it, boss, not leader, maybe the way your boss did it and they trained you on wasn't the right way. So being open, right, and flexible to change is key. So here's the bonus. Y'all ready for the bonus? Y'all ain't ready for the bonus. Y'all ready for the bonus? Let me see if y'all ready. Here's my bonus. I told y'all 5, but I'm actually gonna give y'all 6. Y'all see me, right? Because I got technology on here too. Let me see. Where's that? Where is it? All right. Here's my number 6 thing. And I'm gonna see if this works. I want you to be willing and be able to stand. Stand up for what you know is right. See, I had to stand up, y'all. I had to stand up. Stand up. Huh? And sometimes you might stand up and you might look around. Ain't nobody else there. But your ability to stand alone, even when you know what is right, We're talking about advocacy, right? So that's my number 6 tip. I thought 5, but I gave y'all 6. Your ability to take a stand, to stand up, and it's okay even if you got to stand alone. So listen, I'm gonna leave you with this quote, right? I'm gonna leave you with this quote. See, my life has touched a dozen lives, right? My life has touched a dozen lives. Before this day is done, my life will touch a dozen lives. It will leave countless marks for good everywhere I go, right? And before this evening sets, this is the wish I wish for all. The prayer that I wish always, that Lord, may my life help other lives the way it touched mine, right? So it touches just by the wayside. Everywhere that I go and what I do, the dozens that I will touch in a day, I pray that your time with me today, that you've been touched and that you've been changed. And you have learned about Dr. Nana, right? How you can impact others, listen, and how you know that you can move forward with the PIPs, position, influence, impact, and posture. I thank you so much for your time. I think we'll open up for questions and maybe I'll sit back down. Dr. West?
Fantastic. I told y'all she's high energy. You know, it's hard to move from country to country leading people being low energy. That's what I love about Dr. Anana Phifer Derilihomme, is she's high energy. And what I love about her posture is it's just her. Dr. Anana never fights to be number one. You know why? Because she knows she's the only one. She's the only Anana Phifer Derilihomme. And what she's really telling you to do is you have to come out and be yourself, who you were created to be. Listen, if you have a question for Dr. Anana, if you have, somebody said, thanks for that splendid presentation. First of all, show her some love in the feed. If you liked what she shared, if you liked her energy, if you liked what she had to say, somebody show her some love in the feed, because she'll be able to go back and read the comments. So show her some love in the feed. Somebody said, Dr. Anana, you're amazing. I second that motion. But if anyone has a question while they're putting the comments in the feed, somebody said, I'm blessed by your teaching. If you have a question, unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question to Dr. Anana, but make sure you show her some love in the feed. Does anyone have a question? Anyone?
Good evening. Yes, I do have a question.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Dr. Anana, for the presentation. I very enjoy it. Like I said, you are very amazing. You full of so much energy. I wish to always sit on your class to learn something from you. But my question is, from your initial presentation, from your initial statement during the presentation, you try to give us a reason why a woman should be in leadership. But because of my poor signal, I did not get the clarity of that. So will you be able to help us to explain to us, why is it necessary or significant for a woman to be empowered or to be put into leadership? Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you for your feedback. And so today was really about women leading in the political and the business area and the space, right? And so if you were able to see some of the examples, right, that were shared, it's so important. And we talked about the first, right? And I guess also, if you haven't done that already, make sure that you're telling me about your first. I really want to hear that, right? Because the powerful thing about it is a woman being in that role, and of course, even being the first, right, paves a way that you're typically always gonna, you've seen men in that role before, right? That's nothing new, unfortunately, right? If they're good at it, maybe not so good at it, doesn't even matter, right? Because you're used to seeing men in that role. But just the fact that a woman is in the role, is in that position, it paves the way. It brings inspiration, right? It brings in, I want to say, what's the word? Inspiration, but also the idea of like newness, right? Of possibility. You know what I mean? And so that just, again, that's why the PIPS is all really about what the benefits are, right? It's because when you have a woman in that role, her being in that position just paves a way. It leaves a pavement that, unfortunately, a man being in the role He just in that role. Sorry. He's just, you know, he's there. He might be doing a good job at it, but just the fact that a woman is in that role, it shifts everything. And I hope that you get that and see that and really believe that, right? That it changes the whole landscape. It changes the playing field because everybody who's just seeing her in that position, she ain't even got to do a good job. She ain't even got to say anything. But the fact that she's sitting in that chair, the fact that she's at the table, it shifts the environment. Okay. The other thing is, so that's about that impact. And the last thing that I would say is so important, right? And just to go over it, because we won't go back over everything, is the advocacy, that women are some of the greatest advocacies in the world. Some of the biggest changes that you said that we've seen on the globe when it comes to human rights and equal rights and gender rights, it came because a woman was in a position and she was steering that forward. Right? So you have benefits. There's things that because there was a woman fighting for you, even as a man. So that's just a little bit, I hope I answered you, but it's just so important for women to be in position for you to see the impact on a daily basis. And Dr. S?
Yeah, thank you, Dada Anana. Can I ask the last question?
Go ahead, Danielson.
Yeah, so also in your deliberation, you also made mention of, you said position is a terrible place to stay. Why would you want to say that?
Yes. Oh, man. Because, you know, you start as a leader and you just get into a position, right? So remember I said, what position do you want, right? And so remember I told you about my story is like, I just wanted to be at this level, right? So my parents told me to go to school, get that good job. That was the position. Make that certain amount of money, make 6 figures, right? So then when I got to that position, then what, right? It's like, that's really the beginning. So you might say, I want to become the CEO. Oh, I don't know. What is it? What is that? What is it that you're going for, Dennison? What are you going to be the first at?
I'm actually want to be a medical doctor. Right now, I'm a physician assistant, but I'm earning my degree in medicine.
Okay, so thank you, and we know that that's what you're gonna do, right? So the fact that when we talked about position, you get into once you reach becoming a doctor, a medical physician, then what? Okay, you got there.
Well, I'm hoping to get at the level of Minister of Health.
To do what?
And so I don't know.
Oh, okay. There we go. So are you just going for the position? Are you really concerned about the impact? What you gonna do with it? Okay, so you get there, but how are you gonna impact others? How are you gonna develop others, right? That's that significance piece of it. So it's one thing just to work to get to a position, right? They always say, once you get there, then how you gonna keep it? How you gonna make the way and have that influence for other people? So that's actually John Maxwell. That was one of his quotes. That is one thing. It's a terrible thing to just think that getting to a position is where you stop, but really that's where you start. So getting to that leadership role, and that's the difference between boss and leader. Just because a person becomes the boss does not mean they're the leader. So just because you got that position and that title and you got the degrees behind your name does not really make you a leader. It does not allow you to develop personally, right? What we talked about, relationship, professionally, right? There's a whole level that goes beyond that. So if you just get there and stay, what's next? So you're talking about all these positions and roles you want to attain, but who are you going to impact? What changes are you going to make? How you are going to influence others is really what this is about today. Having that impact in the 21st century. So it goes way beyond just getting in the position.
I told you guys, I told y'all who I was bringing to the mic today. I told you, I told y'all, Anana is that powerful woman. I told you she's going to be leading a team of people to Kenya, then they're traveling to Burundi, then they're going to Ghana, then they're going to South Africa. And the question we should be asking her is, what is it going to take for her to come to Liberia? What is it going to take for her to come to Rwanda? Like all these, if you're going, you might as well go all the way. Listen, who else has another question? We got a little bit more time. One more question. Does any of the ladies have a question? Because I want to make sure if they do, they get their questions answered. I think we got to put them in position. Ladies, any lady with a question? Joyce? You have a question? No, no. Okay. Joyce, if you're talking, you're on mute, so we can't hear you because you're still on mute. If you're talking to us, Joyce. Okay, fantastic. Does anybody else have a question? Anyone else have?
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you talk about making noise as a woman in leadership. So I want to know, what does it mean? What does it indicate?
Okay. So, thank you, Joyce. You know, when the tip that the making noise was number one in regards to being in the posture of advocacy, right? And so, is there something that you particularly are passionate about, or something that you're standing up for, that you're taking a stand, that you're supporting? Is there anything like that happening that you're doing right now in your role, in your life? Is there some way that you're serving others? Those are the things that I mean by make noise, right? So if you see, one thing we're doing with Blessed Girls is we're working to end period poverty. Because that's just, it's, you know, it's for me to know and understand that girls around the world, right, do not go to school, do not go to work. Their life like shuts down, right, when they are on that time of the month, when they're on their cycle, right? So for me to see that, and the more that I learned about that, I know that I had to make some noise. I had to raise awareness. I had to use my voice, right, for the voiceless. I had to take a stand, right? Stand up. But this particular thing about using your voice and making some noise is that you now become the voice, right, for the voiceless. You now make some noise, stir some things up. You can know you can't just like we're talking about, get in position, but really don't affect change. And in order for change, for anything, I can say, you know, like life changing and global change. Let's talk about even climate change. It's not going to happen if people don't make some noise. If we don't stand up and say enough is enough, you know what I mean? We've had enough, right? When you saw any real civil rights movement, women's suffrage movement, anything that you want to say for the democratic process, it was because people stood up and made some noise. Right? Women's rights, equal rights, right? Racial justice. I mean, I'm sure even for you, things that you may be facing, for us, you know, a lot of the injustice and the police brutality. How are things going to ever change? It's because people stand up and they make some noise. And so that's what I'm speaking about when I'm talking about make some noise. And it's whatever you see. I don't care how small it is, right in your local community. I want you to make some noise. I want you to be the voice, again, most and more importantly, for those that don't have a voice, right? And so that's why we say women and children and babies and, you know, those that are the most marginalized people, they need us. They need you to be in a position of posture. And you do that, number one, you got to make some noise. We got to let the folks know this is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? We got to make a stand. We got to come together. So that's what Make Some Noise is about. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. It is clear now.
Okay.
Well, hey, you know what? We could let Dr. Anana, I mean, she's a wealth of information, but we have to cut it off. She's a wealth of information, so we have to cut it off. But here's what I can tell you. I posted her website in the feed. Dr. Anana, maybe you could post your website in the feed one more time. So that anybody who wants to come, obviously you can reach out to her after this, keep the conversation going. But last week we had three gentlemen. We had Billy Graham, we had Sakoni Prince, and then we had who was the other person?
Corey Briggs, Dr. Briggs?
Dr. Corey Briggs, the builder. And now this week we have three powerful women, and Anana just set it off. Dr. Anana just set it off. Now tomorrow we got Barbara H. Smith, and then on Sunday we got Robin Shirell from Flint, Michigan. We are bringing some powerhouse people to this training. I'm giving you the opportunity to connect with a lot of people, and what you have to be excited about is Ambassador Otis. I'm going to say that again. What you have to be excited about is Ambassador Otis, because he allows for the connection. Without him putting this program together, without him having a voice, without him being really willing to come to Kenya and be one of the speakers at my last event in July in Kenya, we wouldn't have this connection. And so sometimes in life, we have to be thankful for the connection. So do me a favor, everybody give a shout out to Ambassador Otis for being the connection, for being the bridge to these powerful trainers from the United States to bring you this content. And let me tell you, these trainers to work with Dr. Anana one-on-one, it's expensive. Dr. Anana ran the hospital. She was hospital administration. To work with her one-on-one, it's expensive. So for him to be able to bring these trainers to you within the context of this course and this training is very, very, very powerful. So Dr. Anana, thank you for showing up and showing out like I knew you would. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. Hopefully you've put your website in there. Everybody, they say kudos, they're giving applause. We salute Ambassador Otis. Everybody's pleased. You did a fantastic job. And so here's what we're going to do. Just take the time to go in there and get her website so you can get that link to her website. She's also on Facebook, so you can follow her there. Make sure you go do that. And we're going to be signing up. Ambassador Otis, we're going to go back over to you, sir.
When you decide to be the first, you got to fill in the blank. Go for success with significance. Don't get in position before knowing you are influential. In order to make the difference, you have to consider your position. I want to use this tab to say, if I can't remember anything, I can remember your energy, like Barbara H. Smith when we was in Kenya. You know, that's a celebrity speaker. And this is something so powerful that I actually captured. Your energy is so phenomenal. I'm actually excited. Dr. Ruben West, you just passed the entire test. I'm so excited. You know, I'm actually excited having this powerful female, I mean, a mother, a mentor, a teacher, displaying something so exceptional tonight. To future leaders of Liberia. I have someone here called Yaya Davis. She doing Liberia. And there are a lot of people here who are doing a great job in their country. We have people from Rwanda and across the continent. And when you the power, inspire and keep doing more, you know, it is never complicated to get something to where you want to get it, but it is complicated to get it started. I'm actually inspired by this splendid presentation, and I want to say thank you so much for information. Moving forward, I think we have to make some adjustment and see how best we can bring Dr. Arnold to Liberia and speak to those beautiful females in Liberia. Dr. Ruben West, this is something so exceptional. We have to talk about that because it's so amazing to see. You won't just understand how many females in Liberia want to just take a second to listen to Dr. Aina. I mean, it's something so powerful. We have to work on that. We have to look at that. I'm currently in Kigali, Rwanda, and I'm told you're going to be in Burundi. And Burundi share common border with Rwanda. I'm actually excited and hoping that we could share some stage someday. You know, I'm actually excited by this powerful presentation. And what blows the training more is becoming, oh my gosh, Dr. Ruben was keeps setting the training on fire, and you will just understand. A lot of students come to my class and say, I love her energy, and that's powerful. This is what we love to see. You know, all of the trainers has been so exceptional. You know, on the first, second day, I mean, it's just so powerful. You won't just imagine. I'm actually overwhelmed. I don't know. I'm actually speechless. But you know, I just want to say thank you so much. God is actually going to reward you, you know, for the level of work you have done. It's so powerful. I've captured a lot of things tonight in my notebook, and it's not only about me watching. I'm been capturing something so powerful, and that's why I took my notebook. And this is so good. I want to say thank you and thanks to all of our students. Thanks to Mr. Prince tonight for taking his precious time to be here, sir. We salute you, sir. Your presentation was amazing too. And you know, this is why I really love Dr. Ruben West, because He keep empowering young people across the continent. Tonight, a lot of people have taken a lot of notes, and they're going to be the change in the community. Liberia right now have a lot of advocates. You just get 5 tips, and once you practicalize these things, you're going to get it going. And that's why I said being inspired without taking action is not inspiration. You're just joking. Because when people inspire you and you take action, it means that you want to leave for change. You want to get something going. And so this is the reason why I brought my notepad to not just stick on the theoretical aspect, but the practical aspect by jacking down things and be able to add upon it. I'm actually inspired by this, and I want to say thank you so much, and thanks to my mentor, teacher, and fellow Dr. Ruben West, but for connecting me with great mothers, fathers, teachers, mentors, coaches across the continent of Africa and the world at large. And this is the reason why I sparked this as an opportunity to give a privilege to my counterparts, my fellow leaders, my allies in Liberia, so that they can be able to connect and have a change mentality. Because for you to make a change, you have to get a change mentality. And a change mentality will lead to a practical display of having a proactive change in our community. And we're going to start this process little by little and get Liberia and the world to where we wanted to get. I mean, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Mom. And this is I can't wait to see you in Liberia. And I mean, we have to plan something. I know you're traveling to Burundi, Ghana. You're gonna be in Ghana. From Ghana to Liberia is not far, but we're gonna have. I mean, I don't know, the entire Achish nation. This civility team. We have to work on that. Liberia have to feel this extreme power. Liberia have to feel this, and I can be with you people as a team and not taking you people to Liberia. Liberia must feel the power. Liberia must be inspired by you people, because I mean, we are the change. And I was telling someone, if you think there is generation ahead of us, I do agree, but we should start with us, because we are the generation now. And so let's build up the capacity to change the mentality of the generation that's coming after us. But if we sit and say we want to change the generation ahead of us, while we are not changed, I don't know where we're heading. So we should be changed and putting out change before we can change the mentality. I'm actually grateful. Thank you so much, Mom. And I'm actually inspired, Dr. Ruben West. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Good night, you all.
Okay. Okay, so you can just stay here for short information to our students. Let's see, just short information, very quick. Short information to our students. All right, so this is what's going to happen. I want to say thank you so much for taking your precious time to be here. Our presidential election is going to spark up very soon. My team is actually working on